Hello, everybody. Welcome. Is everybody staying warm? Staying inside? Well, if you've not been here before, my name is Elizabeth, and I am your friendly hillbilly host. And this is Sweet Tater. This is my mother. And this is Hillbilly Crime. If you have been with us, then you know what cases we've been looking at recently. We've already got lots of people here already, so come on in. Thank you all for being here. We want to look at some of the financial contributions that Mayor Weddle, who is the London city mayor, London, Kentucky. He is the mayor that we saw in the city council meeting video. And so let's go ahead and pull that up and look at it. So this is a story that was done. And thank you to all of you who send me lots of these articles and stuff. Thank you. All right, so this was written or published August 2nd, 2024. So this was before all of this mess recently. London Mayor Weddle, other Kentuckians still giving big to Democratic Governors Association. And if you don't know, that is Andy Beshear standing there. That is our Kentucky governor. And that little stocky guy there is the London mayor. That's the one we saw in the city council meeting. All right. And it says Randall Weddle, then a candidate for London mayor, listens as Governor Andy Beshear helps celebrate the opening of WB Transport's new warehouse in April of 2022. All right. London Mayor Randall Weddle, currently under the scrutiny of Kentucky campaign finance regulators for excess contributions to Democratic Governor Andy Beshear's 2023 re-election efforts, is continuing to make hefty political contributions. Weddle donated $75,000 on May 1st to the Democratic Governors Association, according to a disclosure that the DGA filed recently with the IRS. Weddle and his family, employees, and business associates generated the largest bundles of political contributions for Beshear's reelection. An analysis by Kentucky Lantern last year showed Weddle's group gave at least $305,000 and probably more to Beshear's reelection campaign in the Kentucky Democratic Party in 2022 and 23. After Kentucky Lantern's report, the Beshear campaign and Democratic Party refunded $202,000 to Weddle because, according to Beshear's campaign manager, that amount of contributions previously reported as being donated by various Weddle relatives and employees had actually been drawn on a credit card belonging to Weddle and his wife, Victoria. So it was only after the newspaper article came out by the Kentucky Lantern did Beshear give that money back. It is illegal for any individual to give more than $2,100 to any state campaign committee per election, and illegal for anyone to give more than $15,000 to a state political party. The Kentucky Registry of Election Finance is investigating Weddle's excess donations. The controversy over the Weddle contributions for Beshear did not slow down Weddle's donation pattern last year. He continued to make large political contributions, including with wife Victoria, $75,000 to the Democratic Governors Association, DGA, in May of 2023. Even though he knew he wasn't allowed to do it, he still did it anyway. Many Democratic donors from Kentucky gave to the DGA last year. The DGA's purpose is to help elect Democrats as state governors, and getting Beshear reelected was the DGA's priority last year. The DGA spent more than $19 million on an independent advertising campaign in Kentucky in 2023 aimed at reelecting Beshear. And remember, Tim Robinson from ARC also gave a ton of money to these campaigns. Weddle's contribution of $75,000 this May can't help Beshear, who is now term limited, get elected governor again. And Weddle was not the only big Beshear donor to give to the DGA in the spring. Case Coal Sales of Louisa, a company headed by Todd Case, a massive donor to Beshear's political committees, who was appointed to the University of Kentucky Board of Trustees by Beshear, gave $35,000 on May 8th. Todd Case gave $15,000 to the DGA in the spring of 2023. Jack Dulworth, a Beshear insider who heads the nonprofit company that manages Beshear's Kentucky Derby tickets and party, gave $15,000 on April 15th. Dulworth also gave $15,000 to the DGA in the spring of 2023. Bernie Mason of Ashland and a principal in MBM Management gave $15,000 on May 8th. MBM Management also gave $15,000 to the DGA in the spring of 23. There were no similar contributions to the DGA from Beshear's major Kentucky donors in the 6 months following his election in 2019, IRS records show. Weddle did not return a phone message left at the London mayor's office. The DGA did not return a phone message and emails. The Democratic Party of Kentucky did not return a phone message. Andy Westbury, communications director for the Republican Party of Kentucky, said, "With all the controversy surrounding the previous illegal campaign contributions, I find it very interesting that Randall Weddle continues to cut these large checks." John Steffen, executive director of the Kentucky Registry of Election Finance, said he could not comment on the agency's investigation beyond saying that it is continuing. He said he did not know when it will conclude. Earlier this year, attorneys for Weddle filed papers with the election registry saying that Weddle put excess contributions on his credit card only because he was assured by a fundraiser for the Beshear campaign that advancing contributions of others in such a way would be fine. But Eric Hires, who managed Beshear's campaign for governor, disputed Weddle's account of what happened, saying that the Beshear campaign learned of possible excess contributions by Weddle came in April of 23, and that the campaign quickly took steps to refund the money to Weddle. If the election registry ultimately concludes a violation of campaign finance laws occurred, it has the authority to impose a $5,000 fine per violation. It also can refer the matter to the state attorney general or local prosecutor for possible criminal violations. And how much do you want to bet that didn't happen? Okay, what's everybody think? We got some other stuff too to read, but oh, Ada Clark. Well, hello. I love your channel. Thank you for being here. Spiritus electus. Just curious why the governor of Kentucky, attorney general, or the feds hasn't got involved. This is big news here in Florida and elsewhere around the country. It sure is. I think this article right here might explain that. What do you think about reading that, Mom?
Well, he must not have known the laws, and so he wanted to contribute to the governor. I don't know why he wanted to contribute so much, unless the governor needed it to get reelected. I just don't know. Of course, I like the governor, so I don't have a problem with that, but that man's a little bit weird, that mayor. He does not know how to do stuff.
Yeah, he sure
He
does.
needs to take some classes, investigate stuff, and see if it's legal.
Yeah, no, it's not very good. Okay, so let me go over here. This is an article that was written by the Marshall Project. We had looked at an article from here before on a different case. It was on the Sandra Birchmore case. And so let's read what it says. Our 2021 investigation into fatal pew-pews by police in rural areas pushed Kentucky to finally purchase body cameras for its state police. Now, see if it... I don't see a date on here. Our reporting with the Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting revealed that Kentucky State Police had the worst fatal pew-pew record in rural communities of any agency in the country. Now, this is talking about the state police, though, so it's a little bit different than the organization that's in trouble right now in the news. But it's still Kentucky Police. And that's more in general of what we're talking about in general.
I think that would. I think that statistic is telling in that it is not only in them; it's in the city police and the sheriffs and everybody that legally carries a gun.
Yep. Okay, so with 41 people fatally pew-pewed from 2015 to 2020, the lack of video evidence meant many of these incidents escaped scrutiny. Shortly after we published on the front page of the New York Times and the Lexington Herald Leader, Governor Andy Beshear requested $12.2 million to equip the state police with body cameras. Lawmakers approved the expense in spring of 2022. How we think about impact. The Marshall Project is a journalism outlet, not an advocacy organization. We don't approach any issue with an outcome in mind. Our reporters examine all sides of an issue and follow the facts where they lead. We focus on criminal justice as an arena where power is often abused. Our goal is to expose injustice. The Marshall Project's work frequently leads to real and demonstrable change. We track the impact of our journalism on three important groups: policymakers, advocates, and criminal justice experts, and other media. Each has a critical role to play in improving the system. Since our founding in 2014, the Marshall Project's reporting has spurred new legislation, prompted official probes, improved conditions in specific prisons and jails, gotten people out of detention, and been cited by everyone from Supreme Court justices to jailhouse lawyers. I wanted to read that, though. Let's see. That goes on to a different story. Okay, so let me go on over here to this one. All right. Let me make sure it's up there. Okay, can you see it, Zelma?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this was Kentucky State Police investigating officer involved pew pew in Laurel County. And this was before this one that we're looking at now. It says story by Julia Huffman 2 weeks ago. London, Kentucky. An officer, it might be this other one that I got. Anyway, an officer involved pew pew in Laurel County left one person unalived. Kentucky State Police said this happened on December 23rd at 11:53. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the one that just happened, and then I've got another one that happened before this one. All right, at a home in the 500 block of Manzant Road. Officers were executing a search warrant at the home before the incident. KSP said there was an encounter, and a London officer pew-pewed their weapon, unaliving the man. Life-saving measures were performed, but the man later passed away from his injuries. No other injuries were reported. Okay.
Is that the one that we've been reading about?
Yeah, that's the one we've been reading about. But this one here is one that I think is from a different incident, because I've been hearing people have been telling me that there have been several incidents happen in that area where people were passed away. They didn't make it, and they were officer involved. Okay, so this one was posted February 5th, 2024. So this was last year. KSP investigating officer involved incident near Lilly on Sunday. Kentucky State Police are investigating an officer involved incident that occurred on Brannon Mill Road near Lilly about 4:30 p.m. Sunday. The incident involved officers from the London Police Department and the Laurel County Sheriff's Department. That sounds familiar. The incident began with police investigating a DUI complaint on Tom Jensen Highway, said KSP Trooper Scotty Pennington, who serves as Public Affairs Officer at KSP Post 11 in London. The pursuit lasted for about 13 to 14 minutes before the man involved in the pursuit was hit by one or more officers on Brannon Mill Road, Pennington said. The male subject was transported from the scene to the University of Kentucky Medical Center for treatment of his injuries, according to a KSP release. The male subject is expected to recover and will be formally charged when he is released from the hospital, Pennington said. No officers were injured during the incident. The London Police Department and Laurel County Sheriff's Department requested that KSP Post 11 troopers and detectives respond to the scene and investigate the case, according to the release. KSP has statewide jurisdiction and investigates officer-involved incidents throughout the Commonwealth as requested by local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. KSP is committed to being transparent while ensuring the integrity of the investigation. To protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation, it is KSP's standard operating procedure not to release specific details until vital witnesses have been interviewed and pertinent facts gathered. Timelines to complete investigations vary based on the complexity of the case, the release noted. All right, that's all that they said about that one. All right. What's everybody think? Let's get over here. Girl Ryan, yes. Let's see. Gavin Fish recommended the channel. Well, welcome to the channel. Thanks, Gavin. We love Gavin.
That's okay.
Let's see. Yes, if you've not been here and not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content, hit that like button. It helps our channel grow. Ooh, I made it 29 seconds in. Good deal. Let's see. What's everybody think about the campaign finance article about the several different pew pew incidents that have happened in Laurel County? We've got several viewers who live there, so Hillbilly Crime. I saw an exchange today. They said that Andy's office replied and said Andy would not be looking into the situation. Well, the mayor looks nervous. Let's see. Kentucky Bluebirds. He donated $220,000. Well, it said in that article that Andy Beshear has had to give him back $202,000. And it said that they didn't give it back until the article was written by Kentucky Lantern. And I just want to do a really big shout out to Kentucky Lantern because they're also the same paper that put out the FBI investigation into ARC. And so they've been really writing some good stories. Let's see. What do you think, Zelmy? You got any?
Well, used to be we were afraid of petty crime, like crime committed on the street and, people carrying guns on the street. And I call that petty crime. But now we have to be worried more about the crime that's done by the higher up kinds of folks.
Fraud, waste, and abuse. That's why those three words are usually written into all kinds of policies and procedures and manuals and trainings. Yes, Miss Vanessa can't help him get elected again, but prevent Andy from doing the right thing and getting involved in the fair and just investigation into Doug Harless' wrongful death, though. Well, I thought that was funny. It pointed out that he can't be reelected because he's limited by term limits. So why would you even be putting money in his campaign if he can't even run again?
Well, he might be going to run for senator, U.S. senator.
Yeah, but that would be in a completely different campaign fund, probably.
Well, I don't know how that works.
Well, and I think that's what they all count on. They count on that nobody really knows how that stuff works. And people don't know how to read financial documents and budgets and stuff like that. When we were reading the audit the other night, like, man, that stuff makes your brain hurt.
Well, it's not very enjoyable to read, that's for sure.
No, it makes your brain hurt. It gets you confused. There's just so much word salad in it all, and loopholes. And I think they make it that difficult on purpose so that way that they can do whatever they want, because anybody that's going to come and try to look at it is going to give up halfway through. That's what I think. And I think that happens a whole lot with nonprofit groups. So I got my hands on some IRS records for SOAR, the Shaping Our Appalachian Region, that big nonprofit organization that was put together by Hal Rogers and all of them. They are the ones who kind of made all of these partnerships in Eastern Kentucky. They've been really big with like the SOAR Summit every year. And following the money on these big organizations is not as easy as what you would think. They just taking a little bit out of the audit, the Letcher County audit that we looked at last week. They had almost $2 million in miscellaneous. Well, what is miscellaneous? Miscellaneous means, or at least it's my understanding, that it means anything that does not fit into an already labeled category. $2 million in miscellaneous? That's a lot.
I
And you
don't know.
can't track it.
If you'd have to compare it to other areas, and you'd have to see what they buy out of that miscellaneous. See if they have something happens, and that's money for try to cover it. So that's a lot of money for sure, particularly in an old poor county like this.
Yeah, absolutely. For an old poor county like this, it's not like, and how often in Letcher County, I know that one of the biggest controversies in our area has been about the city money or county money is been for the workers. So many of like the garbage collectors and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many years I have seen them. I've seen the community requesting more higher pay for them. Hang on.
They don't get paid very much, that's for sure. Ours here in Neon are really good too. The city employees are very helpful. The old folks like me, now I don't know about the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, you've got some really good. We give big shout out to Jake Johnson. He's been a worker there at Neon City for a long time, and he's always been so helpful to
I think
everybody.
he's that way with everybody too, not just people like me. And they they always try to help old people. We get kind of broke down and are not as strong, and they do a good job. So I'm going to brag on them.
Yes,
City employees.
Absolutely. Laurel County hasn't had body cams since 23. That's right. And the city council, I don't remember, was it 23? I thought it was, they said 2 years. So 22 or 23. And the city council said at the very end of that meeting Monday night, they didn't even know. The city council members didn't know
they didn't have body cams.
That they were not equipped with body cams. If they had known that, the way that I took what they said, if they had known that, they would have taken steps sooner to make sure that they found the money to get them. But if you've got a mayor that doesn't want them,
well, it's the cost. I don't think it's that they don't want them. It's the cost, and they'd rather spend the money on something else and the public be damned. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, they apparently put up cameras in
downtown.
Downtown. They said
Which
for special events, and they were equipped with facial recognition software. Now, that man in the city council meeting, he asked them if they were going to use it, if they were using the facial recognition, because they can track us. They can track you from one place all the way through town, wherever you go.
I guess that's illegal.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can see value, if you've got somebody that sneaks off into town and pew somebody, you want to see what he looks like and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, but
totally opposed to using facial recognition in some instances.
Well, the way that I took it, and you know, we all perceive things differently, and we all absorb information differently. But the way that I took it, um, they weren't people that the gentleman that got up and spoke about it was seemed to me to be more concerned with, you know, if you get on the wrong side, if you get on somebody's bad side, you make an enemy out of them, well then they can use that software, they can use their and I mean that's exactly what we're talking about now anyway, is the corruption that is in these governments, in these local governments. If you offend them, if you insult them, if you get if you make them upset in any way, shape, or form, the retaliation and the fear of retaliation is not so out of the question.
Well, it's in all of our minds that that could happen to us, because I don't suppose anybody is immune unless they have lots of money or political connections. So when there's a lot of times that that happens within the justice system, we get concerned that it could happen to us or it could happen to our neighbors.
Well, Miss Vanessa says right here, and the Kentucky State Police have been placed over investigating the Doug Harless incident in London. And they're also over the investigation into Mickey Steins and Judge Mullins.
So those state police, when they went to visit that guy down there in London, they should have had body cams on, because there was 3 of them there, wasn't there?
Well, that's what I said, but it wasn't the state police, it was the sheriff's office. And
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
And we're only doing the numbers through simple deduction. So the one guy said there were 6 London city police officers. They don't have body cams. Well, that leaves 3. If there were 9 in total, that only leaves 3 that could be on the county sheriff's department. Well,
I don't know if the county
sheriff's department have body cams. I bet they do.
So at any rate,
Laurel County is a big county. It's a lot bigger than Letcher County, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. I guess every county's bigger than Letcher County.
Yeah. And it's shocking to me that London didn't have body cams.
Well, it is to me too, because, you know, it's a progressive city down there. They've got that 75 that goes right through there.
And if he's got all this money to send to overpay on campaign finances, why don't he have the money to pay for his officers' body cameras?
And you know, when you go west out of London, I don't know what that parkway is going west. You go to the central part of Kentucky. So it's a pretty big crossroads.
Yeah. New to the channel. I just wanted to say hello from Leslie County. You're down there with Mickey. Welcome to the channel. Y'all don't forget to hit the like button. It's free. That's right. Subscribe and like it. Help us grow. And if you become a member, then we'll send you the Discord link and you can join us in our Hillbilly Crime Discord. Just send an email to me at hillbillycrime@gmail.com and we will send you your Discord link. Let me know that you're a member. What that is saying, it is KSP standard practice to keep everything shut down with zero transparency to the public. I emailed a couple more stories to you if you get the chance to look at them tonight. One of them shows what a petty tyrant Weddle really is. All right, we'll check that out. Let me run over here and check it out and see what we got. Judge dismisses London, Kentucky. Okay. Let me get it up here. Thanks, Bob. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Can y'all see it? Can you see it, Zelmy?
Uh-huh.
Can you see it? Yes?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Judge dismisses London Mayor Weddle's defamation suit over Facebook posts. Oh, this is wonderful. If you watched that city council meeting, there was a lot of talk about Facebook, blocking people on Facebook, writing really bullying and mean Facebook posts.
So does this mean that Mayor Weddle had brought some suits against Facebook posts?
He probably brought it against people. Let's read
Well,
it and
yeah.
see. A judge sided against London Mayor Randall Weddle this week in his suit against a citizen making negative comments about him on Facebook. Weddle, a logistics entrepreneur who garnered controversy for his donations to the Kentucky Democratic Party last year, filed a defamation lawsuit in February against citizen Sherry Rudder Smith. He claimed that Rudder Smith's recent posts to the social media site Facebook caused injury to his reputation, mental anguish, and humiliation. And this guy has got so much money, he don't even know what to do with himself. It is such a shame that people like us freeze to death and struggle and starve, and then people like this just get flourish. It kills me. Laurel Circuit Judge Gregory Lay dismissed Weddle's case on Tuesday, stating that Rudder Smith's words did not rise to the level of defamation. Lay also used a recently passed law protecting Kentuckians from so-called strategic lawsuits against public participation as further reasoning for dismissal. I'm proud of this judge. Rudder Smith had claimed in Facebook posts that Weddle was conspiring against London citizens by using city agents to chalk the tires of patrons frequenting downtown restaurants for the purpose of pulling over drivers under the influence of alcohol at sporting and social events. Well, that's been a practice that they've done around in these mountains forever. They used to do it in Norton at the little club they had over there. In the comments section of such a post, she used the words communists and mafia to describe Weddle. I don't see it no different than organized crime. And it's not, and I don't see it just in London or Laurel County. I think it's organized crime in Letcher County. And I don't see how they can't investigate supposedly what's been coming to them. You know, you've got all these other cases, you've got all these other charges and indictments, and then you've got whispers of other things. Well, you're supposed to investigate further. You're supposed to follow the evidence, not turn a blind eye and just get what the basic that you can get, the bare minimum that you can get. Let's see. Weddle took great issues with this, so much so that he filed the lawsuit in the first place. But Lay wrote that there was not enough evidence that her words constituted actual malice, in that such speech, particularly when it comes to addressing public figures such as a mayor, is protected political speech under the First Amendment. Rudder Smith's legal team explicitly challenged the lawsuit by citing the state's anti SLAPP law, also known as UPEPA, which was enacted in 2022. That contributed to Lay's relatively quick dismissal, the judge wrote. Rhetoric, hyperbole refers to exaggerated statements or colorful language that, when viewed in context, are not meant to be taken literally as assertions of fact. Instead, they are expressions of opinion or criticism that are constitutionally protected under the First Amendment, Lay wrote, but they cannot handle criticism. None of these public officials can handle the criticism. In Rudder Smith's case, her characterization of Weddle as having cronies and being a communist was made in the context of social media posts discussing local politics and alleged policies, which are matters of public concern, Lay continued. Given the context of her statements, the political nature of the criticism, and the protections afforded by the First Amendment and Kentucky's UPEPA statute, these comments are constitutionally protected expressions of opinion and criticism. Thank you for sending me this. I'm so thankful we got to read this together. Weddle has been a massive donor to Democratic causes in recent years. The mayor stirred controversy when it was discovered he contributed more than $200,000 in other people's names. That's what it was saying, that it all came in through his family and employees' names, but it all came in one charge on his credit card. Is how I understood that. Isn't that dirty? Wouldn't that be an example of trying to hide it? You took steps and measures to get around the system, get around the law, because you're above the law. Andy Beshear's successful 2023 re-election bid in the Kentucky Democratic Party. Afterward, he legally gave a group supporting Beshear's gubernatorial run $550,000. That's $500,000 right there. Over $500,000. Lay's ruling is not considered final because Rudder Smith is still seeking attorney's fees. When that issue is finalized, the ruling will be appealable. That just blows me away that he's got all that money to give away, but yet he didn't care to find money for the police department. A spokesperson for Weddle has not commented on the case or its future. Weddle's attorney also did not comment on the matter. Weddle filed a similar lawsuit around the same time and in the same court against a different individual who posted about him on Facebook. Man, this dude's petty. A judge has yet to rule on that case. That lawsuit targets posts claiming that Weddle was using the mayor's office to line his pockets, directing government employees to fill up their vehicles at certain gas stations where Weddle is a silent partner. Claims that Weddle strongly disputes. Oh man, that's dirty. But that's the kind of stuff that they do. That's exactly the kind of stuff they do. Like that was a great example. Telling his employees to go fill up their tanks at a gas station yep, I can see that. Absolutely. Okay, we got one more here. All right. AG Cameron's office asks FBI to investigate donations to Beshear and the Kentucky Democrats. This was June 22nd, 2023. So this was what, about a year and a half ago? All right. Yes, now that Kroger's has settled to give Kentucky money for the opioid situation in Kentucky, how much will get allotted to Eastern Kentucky? It was a lawsuit filed by this Kentucky AG, and I've got the paper. I've got the article on it. We're gonna read it. Okay, let me get over here to this one. All right. Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron's office has asked the Federal Bureau of Investigations to investigate donations made by London Mayor Weddle in excess of state and federal campaign finance limits. Weddle's credit card was linked to $202,000 in donations made to the Kentucky Democratic Party and Democratic Governor Andy Beshear's reelection campaign. Individual contributions to state campaigns are currently capped at $2,100 and contributions to parties limited to $15,000. And this right here is the video of it. We'll watch it again here in a second. Beshear's campaign said this week that the contributions linked to Weddle, as well as those contributions to the KDP, either have already been or will be refunded. Deputy Attorney General Victor Maddox, in a letter sent to the FBI's Louisville field office, stated that the Attorney General's office was barred at present from investigating this matter due to controlling ethics opinions. The letter was provided by the Attorney General's office to the Herald Leader on Thursday. State ethics opinions released during prior administrations bar attorneys general from investigating a governor's conduct if they become their political opponent. In May, Cameron won the GOP gubernatorial nomination and will face Beshear in the general election this November. Please accept this letter as a formal request by the Kentucky Office of the Attorney General for the FBI to investigate the circumstances surrounding contributions in the amount of some $202,000 to the governor campaign of Andy Beshear. These contributions have been the subject of widespread coverage in statewide news outlets. The contributions were ostensibly made by numerous members of the family of London, Kentucky Mayor Weddle, and by employees of a company he co-founded, but apparently were charged by Mayor Weddle to his personal credit card. I'd love to know if those employees of his even knew that he did that in their name. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? If he did it without them even knowing that he was putting it in their name. Are you still with us, Zelmy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at something.
Okay. The Kentucky Lantern first reported on the donations linked to Weddle's credit card. They're getting a lot of scoops when it comes to Kentucky politics and investigations. When asked about Weddle's excess donations at a weekly press conference Thursday morning, Beshear emphasized that he always advises his political campaigns to follow the law and to be transparent. My understanding is that the campaign has met each of those requirements, worked directly with KREF, explaining everything they knew about the situation, and worked to remedy it directly with the regulator. That's an open, transparent way of trying to do what's right, Beshear said. Beshear did not directly respond to a question about whether or not he believes Weddle should be prosecuted for the donations. Weddle is also under investigation by the Kentucky Registry of Election Finance for hosting a free gas giveaway during his mayoral campaign, among other things. Weddle has yet to respond to a request for comment. Let's click on that right there and see what it does. Unreal. Mayor at center of donation. Oh, okay. I think that's the one we just read. Yeah. It just took us to where we just read it. All right. All right. All right. Sheesh. What is up with all of these Kentucky crooks? Let's see. Hey, y'all. Our prime minister resigned. The liberals need a new leader. Ooh. That would be a way to launder money. That's right. I know. Listen, I think that money is behind it all. I think money is behind every single one of these cases. My favorite is when companies email their employees to go online and leave a favorable review of the company they work for. What the heck? Hello, ShameX2. Hello, Elizabeth and Sweet Tater and chat. You all are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We have a great chat. Could be where the money in the storage unit is going. Gotta hide it somewhere. Well, there's been whispers that there's all kinds of money in Letcher County being hid in storage units. If they did that during the flood, they lost their money, didn't they, Mommy?
Yeah, it would have got off down the river. But you can bet they went there first and got it if they had any.
I bet you're right. Do they use it for payoffs, miscellaneous payoffs? Well, you don't know. You don't know what they used the miscellaneous money for because there's no tracking of it. It's just a big bunch of numbers, almost $2 million sitting there in the miscellaneous category.
Kind of money.
That's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of money not to have better records of it. And that was just what was in the miscellaneous column. That ain't counting all of it. Not all, but many are catalysts for laundering grant monies, promissory notes, fundraising, movies, and charitable donations. The flood money came in, and I'd love to be able to see all of that. Take a close look at the campaign finance records. You'll see a lot. Yep. The thing is, anyone can do creative bookkeeping and hide the money in.
Excuse me.
Bless you. You need someone that knows something about their particular books to give you that information to pad it out. That's right. Bless you. That's right. There's so much. There is so much white collar crime. Bless you.
Excuse me. I know it's just the time of night.
There's so much white collar crime in this area of Appalachia because, like I've said many times, you don't have people in law enforcement that's, and I'm not saying this in any bad way. Bless you, Mommy. I'm not that they're not smart enough to find it, but a lot of them don't even know what they're looking at. They have no idea what, they're not educated enough to be able to put all that stuff together and even be able to follow it. And just like this one says, anybody can do some creative bookkeeping and hide it. And, one of the biggest ways that, bless you, One of the ways that they do it is through independent contracting. They have, if it's a nonprofit group, if it's a 501c3 and they're not funded enough to where they're completely funded, bless you,
I'm
where
sorry.
they're completely funded to where they have employees, then if they're not, then they have to use 1099 labor. So they end up hiring people as independent contractors, but you have a lot of people who've never worked as independent contractors before. So they come in and they sign their paperwork and they think that they're an employee. They think this person is their boss. And that boss will take advantage of that lack of knowledge. They might not have read their contract very well, or they might not have understood, even put it together. I learned the hard way. You better read your contract as an independent contractor, because a lot of times you'll listen to somebody and they'll be telling you something absolutely in direct opposition to what it says in your contract. You could be paid for only certain duties, but if somebody tells you, oh, well, you've got to do this, this, and this, and it's not in your contract, well, then they're getting free labor out of people. They can take advantage of them very, very easily, all by somebody not understanding really how to read a contract for an independent contracting position. And so I've seen that with my own eyes. Many churches, and then you've also got people who are in the position, in the power positions, and they don't even know what they're doing. Like, they don't even realize half the time that what they're doing is not allowed, or it's illegal, it's wrong. But if you try to tell them, hey, that ain't right, here, let me explain this to you, how dare you try and tell them anything? Because they are a lot smarter than you are. Many churches that donate to campaigns will list elected officials as church members, deacons, and intertwined organizations that exchange services owned and operated by other elected officials. Well, I never thought about that before, but I'd say you are right. Got one thing against Jake. He told me they hired me to help him. He don't have to help me. I'm sorry. Sorry, wrong tense, meant companies. Want to support the channel? Subscribe and like. It's free. Turn on your notifications and set them to all so you know every time Hillbilly Crime goes live. Absolutely. And we're on at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time every night. There is no cost for body cams, the software, or the storage. It's all covered by federal and state funds. I forget where that was at. I had something, I thought, that had something to do with that. I'll have to look at it later. That's very interesting, Mama Duck. Very, very interesting. And what did he say that we watched last night or the night before? He said that they had entered into a negotiation, or they were signing a contract for $500,000 for cameras, for body cams now. Since this has happened, I guess. Hey, sweet potato mama. She must have had to go blow her nose or something. She was just sneezing too bad. There she is. You okay there, Zelmy?
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh.
The cost. How much is going to be paid out of taxpayer money for lawsuits just related to Doug Harless? let alone all the other suits last year. That's a great point. That's a really, really great point. I took a couple of weeks to squirrel through a few $1,000s theft of resident monies in a nursing home by a bookkeeper, but it took an inside person giving me the info needed. Yeah. You almost always have to have some informant. I don't think the Laurel County Sheriff's Office uses cams. Well, that's a very good question for people to start asking the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, because they are a big enough sheriff's office. They're a big enough county that they should have them. And I'd be asking why they don't.
Yep, they should have them. They're at the crossroads.
And they're not rural. Laurel County is not it's not as rural or mountainous as it is here. It is kind of rural, but
there are rural parts of it, but there's a lot of it city too.
And it's got, I'd say it's got a much higher population. It's got a pretty good big population of it.
Yeah, it's real spread out.
Let's see. Are you aware of what is going on with the Meade County jailer? No. Sheriff pays a part too, but that jailer got himself in a mess there. Well, we'll have to look it up. Thank you, Six Oaks Farm. And while I'm thinking about it, I've got a couple cash apps I want to shout out. Thank you. Miss Glenda, she sent me $30 cash app. And Miss Veronica Sansom, thank you. She sent me a $30 cash app. Audrey sent me $5. Holly Luthien, $30. Thank you. Carolyn Short, $5. Diana, $5, but I think that was from before. Thank you. Bless you. All right. Laurel County is a joke. I have a recording of a social service worker there asking me to give her $5,000 for my 3-year-old granddaughter that I raised. I promise you I have it. I've called everyone from Health and Human Services to the Attorney General to what ain't I called. Nobody listens. They're all like one big clique. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I'm so sorry, Justice Seeker. I don't even know what to say about situations like that, because that's the way that it is here. If you make somebody upset and you get on the wrong side of the law, the social workers, any of them, we saw that video of what they did to that female cop. Well, they took her son. They take a lot of people's kids. And then they abuse and manipulate the system because they can do family court stuff like that. They can delay those cases the same as they delay these Smex abuse and red rum cases in the criminal court. They do the same thing. They abuse the system. They abuse the hearings. They abuse the searches. They abuse the entire thing. And, how many women or parents, let me say parents, have I heard say, I did everything they told me to do. I did everything they asked me to do. But then they wouldn't show up with her. They wouldn't meet us. They kept canceling appointments. They kept postponing these. So if you're well, you can't even say if you're lucky, because it's not luck. It's if you're unfortunate enough to get in the crosshairs of some of these systems and groups, you're in trouble. And if you can't find a lawyer to help you, then you're just screwed. London has cameras downtown. I don't know if Whitesburg does.
I think Whitesburg has a few now.
Do they?
Forget where they put them.
I know that there's one. I think there's one up where the old high school used to be up there on the hill where they had King Kitchen or whatever it was there, because whenever you see some of the weather pictures that they do from like the news,
Mm-hmm.
they always show that bridge downtown and the main street there.
Well, I thought they had one over there at the city building.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, I'm sure you would know and be more accurate than I am.
Oh, quit that.
The judges, they're all in on it. I've spoken to this mayor personally. My daughter is in rehab with his daughter. He seemed to be a good person, but he also seemed to not care that the social service work was asking me for $5,000 for my granddaughter, and it was his county. Well, and that's the thing. Who do you go to for help with these situations? Because anybody that you go to and ask for help, they're not gonna go against Mayor Weddle. They're not gonna go against whoever the person is that's pushing this stuff. Where do you turn? Because a lot of times people don't believe you. They just don't believe that in today's society this kind of stuff would actually happen. And if you dare mention the word conspiracy, then you're a conspiracy theorist nut.
Looky here.
There's an episode on Vice about corruption in Kentucky, and that video was made 2018. Oh, look. I was told by a local police that the cameras even track if you haven't renewed your car tags. Those are license plate readers. Yeah, they said that they had this new videos had license plate readers too. The police have a beeper that tells that if you pass by them. Yeah. All of this new technology, we really don't know what kind of capabilities they're coming up with nowadays, because the police aren't going to come out and tell you what their tools are. Laurel County population 63,296 in 2023. That's a lot. It's a lot more than here.
Well, still not very many in a whole county. They must all live in Corbin.
Yep. Let's see.
Or London, rather. I don't know if Corbin's in that county or not.
Brenda Cress finally caught alive. Love your channel. Your mom is so sweet. Keep bringing the news. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Welcome. They have a Kentucky State Police Human Trafficking Task Force. It was called on Mickey Steins and Ben Fields in 2022. Well, the Kentucky Attorney General's office also has a trafficking task force. And Ben still only got 6 months.
I never thought about that being trafficking, but it is, I suppose, technically. I was thinking about where they bring girls in from another country or pick them up in cities as runaways and pimp them out or whatever they do.
Yeah. I've got a video. It is of another YouTube show, and they had Ned Pillersdorf on as a guest. And so I recorded some of the things that he said. And so tomorrow we're gonna do that one. I'm gonna let you guys listen to the things that he said in the interview. and it answers some of the questions that are still kind of lingering in the Mickey Stein stuff. I see all of this from a different perspective than some people do, I'm sure. I think that with any lawyer or people who work in in the courthouse section down there, that's their everyday life, so they're a lot more desensitized to these kinds of things than most of us are. That's their everyday. They can't, if they were to get emotionally involved and emotionally invested in a lot of this stuff, well, Lord, they'd be crazy. I would be. There ain't no way I could wear all of this, of that kind of just trauma and drama. There's just no way I could do it every day. But we're going to watch that tomorrow. And if anyone in chat knows of anyone with a clean or expungible record seeking a career in law enforcement in Kentucky, get those resumes ready. If they arrest everyone involved in corruption, there's a job. I love it. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Oh. All right. You got anything to say, Mommy?
No, I just think it's all not even comprehensible to me. All the waste and theft that goes on in government. No wonder we don't have enough money to run the government. You know what I'm saying? They're always coming back for more, and you have to borrow from places like China. And all this corruption is going on.
That's what happens when people never hear the word no, and they don't have to suffer the consequences of their actions. When they're constantly being bailed out, when they're always surrounded by yes men and they never hear no, and they don't have to figure things out for themselves sometimes, that's what this ends up as. And that's pretty straightforward. Anyway.
So,
I'm
learning a lot.
That's all right. Well, I will see you again tomorrow at 7. Okay, Zelmy?
All righty, Elizabeth.
Stay warm, okay? And snuggle all them fur babies.
I'm going to snuggle them fur babies. They're warm.
All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Stay warm, stay blessed, and we will see you tomorrow night at 7, okay? Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.